So let's go to the third one. I really like this particular one.
But the animals have this same survival mechanism. So if and that's how we learned about it, was observing animals in the wild. And one of the uh, most profound researchers on trauma actually started out in some kind of work with animals, and he observed a a little animal. I can't remember what it was, like an antelope, and it was being chased by a tiger. And as it ran, and the tiger got closer and closer and closer, so it's running. Adrenaline is flowing. The fear mechanism has been set on fire. But when it becomes hopeless that it can escape, it falls to the ground. And it looks dead, and it actually almost stops breathing. Well, that's a great survival tactic. And trauma victims do the same thing. And we call it collapse. When there is no hope of escape, when you cannot fight and you cannot flee, you collapse.
There you go. The
Wow.
collapse mechanism. So yeah, talk a
Yes.
little about what you came up with when you heard that.
Oh my goodness. First of all, that when she's talking about hopelessness, how many people have we talked to? How many recipients that have come into that center after giving up, after being in a state of hope, and they found BioTouch and it's changed their lives? So let me just say, I'll get a little deep here, but this is important. So when Jenny's talking about instinctiveness, that's that animal instinctiveness, that survival mode that we just, you collapse. But we are human. We are in, or we're at least striving to become totally human. So we do have in place a lot of that ancient animal instinctive stuff. But the whole point of humanity is to become intuitive. So that's where hope resides. So when we get something like BioTouch, that is it's here to help us make the transition from that instinctive part of ourselves into that human part of ourselves that's totally instinctive, that we know with all of our humanness, it brings us into that point of peace. This is where healing takes place.
Yeah, it does. And again, another memory. So I was being strangled to death by this young man. And my trauma response was I just collapsed. I just pretended I was dead. I mean, this guy is killing me. And this is an animal reaction.
Yeah.
And in that animal reaction, because I have this habit energy of BioTouch, I was able to reach my hand up gently into doing the greeting. And he immediately let go of me so I could run out, I mean,
wow.
there's the difference, the ability of having the habit energy of BioTouch. Even as the trauma is happening to me, I could still do the BioTouch to get me out of the trauma. And the response, it just sort of took over the instinctual part too, the intuitive. So the instincts, intuitive, it was all working together. But I really had a chance to experience just, collapse as I'm being strangled to death. So
and the human part of yourself, and just it's interesting is this whole polarity that's going on between in us right now, which is part of why we're all opening and cracking open and crashing down and old things happening. But the fact that you took those two fingers, even in the midst of that survival mode, because that's what love does. It pulls us into the truth about who we are. Because we've said it many times, BioTouch is here to help us remember who we are. And in that moment,
right,
you stepped into your full humanness, and in that love broke down all that barrier, that animal instinctive. That's amazing. That's beautiful. Yeah.